not a problem. Go
Oh, but you're recording now? Because we want the recording.
ahead. Record.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, so MCP. So MCP has been showing up like recently as the kind of the de facto way of making large language model talk to external tools. And many LLMs servers are already coming with that built in. So it's kind of pretty easy to integrate these into your own LLM workflow. And many new models, if not most of them, are already trained for true calling, which makes those things even easier. I'm gonna be very pragmatic in this talk. So we're gonna show the motivation and then we're going to jumping into how it's done. Okay. So the motivation is how can we make those large language model actually talk to external systems? I think the biggest idea here is we all know that LLM's outputs are statistical. Sometimes they might reason in the way they want them to do it. Sometimes it might not. So when you call an external tool, most likely that tool will be deterministic. So the results obtained can be used like in a reusable or trustworthy manner and present to the LLM as a source of authoritative sources or data. So I think that's the biggest motivation that is not in the books, but it's for me it's the most important one. In the books, they are it's a way of LLMs to call systems, external systems, right? So again, LLMs are no longer standalone chat systems. They need to interact with APIs and other tools, get data from databases and knowledge graphs, access documents, external data, and be part of workflows and services and calling those services as part of workflows. The tool integration can be messy, so services exposing capabilities before MCP could be many ways at web services, APIs, and so forth. And this can lead to problems such as how to decide which tool to use, how to match data types, and be hard to debug when you have workflows as well. So the way you can easily see MCP is the analog of the good old web services stack, right? So original, not original, but in the web world, you have HTTP and OpenAPI is probably the most used API for web services. So you have some implementation, you have an HTTP client trying to access that, and that uses that can use the OpenAI spec to call a web service, right? And MCP is kind of similar. So instead of your software, traditional software, you might have AI-based or an LLM itself. And then you instead of calling through HTTP, you'll be calling through MCP, right? And you have a schema for that, and that schema is composed by three things we're going to talk next: tools, resources, and prompts. So those three things can be exposed in the MCP interface. Those are the core concepts: tools, resources, and prompts. So tools are actions. So basically do something. So there are functions. This maps directly to any like web service exposed function. They are functions. They can do deterministic computation. But they can involve, of course, not LLMs. So example like query Wikidata, run some analysis. Resources are just like read-only things. It's supposed to be something that is just retrieval as is. So traditionally, actions and tools and resources are bundled together in web services. We don't differentiate with them. They're just a function we call and retrieve data or execute some actions. So there's no distinction. And there are prompts as well. So we can think about as a kind of a reasoning template. So our pre-created prompts that the server is offering the tool, if they want to use a specific prompting that might make it easier to work with whatever those things return, right? So let's say this is in the JSON, I might have a template. Let's say this is in JSON, like using some schema, and I can maybe create a prompt that the client can use to parse that JSON better, right? So I don't need to create my own prompt. Depending on the client, they might have implemented this, or just this. The one I'm going to show in the demo is very simple. I think they just implemented tools, right? Okay, so I'm gonna jump straight into the demo. Let's go ahead. So if you do Python, the easiest way to create a server is using fast MCP library. You can solve that with pip, right? And it's very simple. Your code, you can define tools by annotating them with this mcp.tool annotation. And you basically just describe, create your function. So this one is a very simple function that takes some string as parameter and returns another string, right? This one is like this. You said this. So I returned basically the same thing that got. What is important here is this thing. So this is actually not documentation. This is actually instructions for the MCP client, right? So I'm describing the function and when to use it as natural language, right? So use this tool when the user asks you to transform a short piece of text in a simple deterministic way. The description is used by this to decide whether to call the tool. I may or may not inform the inputs and output types. Some servers that I have seen, they describe that, some they do not. And they still work well. But this is how you do it. And then inside your function, you can do basically anything you want to do. Query something, do some computation, anything, and then return the value, right?
But you always have to have that description.
I don't think you always need to have that, but if you don't, I don't think the model will be ever called that tool.
Okay.
Resource. It's very simple as well. So we annotate with mcp.resource. This one, in the clients that I'm using, the clients do not implement resources or prompts. But so I never actually tested this. But the idea is there is no like computations, just retrieval, right? So you might just return a document, you might just return some file, some anything like a knowledge graph entity, something that is very straightforward. So I never actually tried that in a pipeline because the client that I'm using does not implement this yet. In prompts, it's very similar. It's even simpler. So you just put the prompt in. You also describe the prompt. Use this prompt when this. You should use this prompt when doing that, right? And then you return the prompt, which is like this. You are using a demo prompt template, and this is do the following, this. So the idea here is the model will decide which things to call based on the natural language instructions you give them. So there's the where it comes to the decision. I know it's weird.
But what if they're super duper similar? How is it going to decide?
Yeah, if you have like lots of tools,
Yeah.
it might get weird. So I think the Copilot plugin for Visual Studio Code, I think there's a warning. If you have more than 175 tools, it's not recommended to have that many.
But it seems like it's more important to have tools that description of when to use don't overlap.
Yes, yes.
I mean, I could have 175 tools, but I use them in very different ways.
But you're gonna see how it works. So it might try one, doesn't work. Oh, I'll try the other one. The model decides to call many times, right? Of course, it will take more time to produce the answer. Okay, so that's the basics. It's very simple. Suppose them as prompt tools or sources. And your main functions is simple as this, just MCP run, and you define the transport, which so if you have an actual server, then you put this. If you're trying like locally, you might do stdio, but I'll do like this because I'm gonna actually use this in my server. So I run this, assuming that I have Python with MCP fast already installed. I just do python server.py and that's it. And then it's running. But that's exposed on port 800, 8000, and it's running. It's very, very simple. I won't even test this because this one is very naive, but I'm gonna show you this one. This one is another server. It has two functions, two tools. One is add two numbers. So A and B as parameters, as integers, and return an integer. And this one is, I think I got from this idea from you, John, to actually have a OS thing getting the current timestamp.
This is a brilliant function, Maury,
Yeah.
I tell you.
I'm gonna show you that work. It's very funny. Okay, so this is to get the current time. It's a little bit more than that. So if you say like yesterday, you'll get like, you understand that you're talking about that. This one actual numbers. And this one can take a time zone as parameter. If you don't set it, it's New York by default. So let me actually run this first. Server.py. It's running. Okay. So I am gonna go to my client. Let me delete this. So this is LM Studio. It's a local LLM host you can install. I think it's available for anything. And you can download local models and run, and has a chat interface for you to talk to them. So I'll create a new chat. Let's see. I will use GPT open source 20 billion, and I'm gonna, let me reload that. Restored. Okay. So that's my server, this MCP/TWed, that one that I'm running right now. So it shows the add function and the get time context function. I think if I click here, not showing for some reason. Okay. Sometimes it shows the actual string that I put in there, like add to numbers. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put on median reasoning. This is a model that supports that. So actually, let me disable this first. So I'm gonna add 13 plus, I don't know, 5,000. So it's not using the thing yet. So like we can see the thought process. That's the thought process. The user says this, they want the sum, probably a simple addition. The answer should be this. Maybe they just want the result, so respond this. That's the thought process. So let me create a new chat now. Turn this on, right? So the model knows this thing exists now. So I'll do the same thing. So we need to use the I function. So it calls that. You see the parameters A, 13, B, 5,000, and get the results. Deterministically computed. And it just answers that, right? So it decided to call the add because there is like add to numbers. So from the context, I try to understand what this client actually does when injecting those function descriptions. I haven't found like a final answer, but they say they have an internal system prompt that they tweak as they know those functions. And that's it. So another thing that I would like to show is this one. Oops, sorry. Again, I'll turn this off. What day is today? This one is funny.
Write a dissertation on what the day is.
Wow, there's lots of thinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's too hard to know what.
I'm getting tunnel.
Your co-index fly high.
Speaking which calendar to use.
Zealous congruence is this, explore, compute this.
The amount of
Stars.
I have no idea.
So it's birthday. That minus Steve Jobs' birthday is this divided by Steve Ballmer.
Is today even a date?
Is it like constant?
Now.
How late?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My purpose.
Literal 90 something.
The Sakamoto algorithm. Oh, there we go.
Something.
I'll let Sonia open your chat. Turn this on and ask the same thing.
Imagine and give some philosophy.
Wow.
Hey, is this finished? Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, the other one's still writing a dissertation.
Yeah, so I decided to call the tool, and the tool did its thing, return. That's it, right? So yeah, it's that simple. Let me turn this off again. I want to show the wiki data. So in ChatBS, we always use what is the oldest
Technical University.
technical university in the United States? It's a test thing, right? So I turn on the Wikidata one.
What is university? Say the name again. India.
Note that I never asked this to actually match any Wikidata thing, right? I just enabled that. So the model itself already reasoned something. So found MIT was this, maybe this is other. In the end, it decides, but I better confirm with Wikidata.
Huh,
That was actually worse than 3.2.
right,
Yeah.
that's worse than anything we've seen.
Yeah. And then let's see, the query for this oldest university in the United States. Return some results. Nothing, still calling. So it's calling like until it thinks it has the answer. Let's see if this is still going. It's killing our machine.
Oh, it's just. I like that, but is it considered a technical university? Like that?
Technical university. Overall,
It looked like it got RPI and RIT confused.
Mhm.
The same with my parents' friends when I got admitted.
Same with my invited speaker when I was running a conference here. He booked a flight to where RIT is.
Oh,
Let's see if it does something because when we first tried this last week, I guess, it was between MIT and RPI, the same model. But MIT and RPI never showed up on this reasoning today.
Yeah,
So
no.
let's see if it discovers that RPI is the oldest somehow.
Well, it is contemplating what is a technical university.
Oh, it said it was
Such a
crashed
What is IPS?
instead of RPI. I guess. So what happens here, when I send a message, the client intercepts the message and works with the tool descriptions before actually producing the final answer to decide whether to just respond or to call something. And do the right thing, most likely.
well, it knew to look at RPI there. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that.
Is RPI 1180? Just that? I don't think it
What
is.
is Q 1180?
It's the entity code in Wikidata.
Oh,
RPI is 1180.
That's actually one of the impressive things about what he's showing is it seems to not have a problem with Wikidata's funky IDs.
Oh yeah, we got the wrong QID. RPI is this actually. That's also the same.
Oh,
And then a query again for RPI.
Does it solely search Wikidata? Like, can it?
Yeah, it's and I just enable Wikidata MCP server.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just Wikidata. Right now.
so biggest thing I'm getting from this is that the GPT OSS 20B is kind of crappy.
Yeah, for factual things, it might not be the best choice.
Token count. What is mixed token?
Wiki RPI is Q49211.
Q49211, so it got right this time.
What do you identify that?
Let's see if it's able to tell if RPI is
You mean
used.
not just. If you restrict part of the policy. Let's have set 8,000. And it was time to first look up. Oh, you mean, oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so it the line shows inception 1824, founded 1824, and then roster.
This is just a router.
Okay, older than my chain others. Let's craft final answer. Okay,
Model is being served differently. I can.
all right. So, yeah, so it's that simple. And I have a last example here. So I think this is mostly for the effect people. Like I asked ChatGPT to create like a conversation log. In I think it's a workshop organization setting, like create a CFP, recruit reviewers, stuff like that. And I'm using that to start the server first. So this is not a graph. This is just like a series of JSON conversation, I mean, but just so it is possible to get data from somewhere and input our server here. So that's something. I'm already running that server with that conversation in the backend. So what are the milestones in this conversation log? So it's calling the search log function, which goes into the conversation log. And retrieves milestones. So workshop idea confirmed, venue capacity share, call for proposal release, submission deadline for proposal, deadline extended, review process completed, final program schedule confirmed, workshop day.
And does the log use the word milestone or is it?
It does use, there's one users, yeah. But I can ask stuff like this, what happened in the last week of January? So the search log functions receive like a several of optional parameters. So you can query by text, by speaker or agent, tags, start and date time, linear results, and so forth. So those are options. So key happenings in the last week of January. So those things happen, milestones, summaries, ideas. One keynote candidate confirmed. Action item. Updates, action updates, blockers. And so forth.
Ricky, did it show search logs interface there right before? I missed it. I felt like it showed something. I'm just curious if it showed.
Oh, you mean this?
Yeah, this is essentially the parameters that could be used in the search log function.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I to play with. Okay.
Yeah. So the model decides which one, they know the parameters, they know that it's optional, and it based on the user question, the model decides whether to use any of them based on the question.
So it can write regex. That's interesting.
Yeah. So the Wikidata has execute Sparkle. So if the model decides to create a Sparkle and send that, Wikidata will take it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm not using any prompts. So the model is deciding to create this table and present as a table. But if I had a prompt like display results of the search in some specific way, right? As a summary or as narrative or as topics, I don't know. So the model decided to do that. Yep. But the key thing here is this client already has MCP support, so we don't have to deal with that. Depending on the project is using specific chatbot to run this, if it does not have MCP support, you need to implement that somehow.
So what does it mean to implement MCP support?
So you need to yourself, I don't know if there's like plugins, Sirhan, I don't know if you know that or not, but it means that you need to intercept the user message to the available tools in a separate loop to prompt the model with those tools and get the intermediate response to decide to call it or not. Just then you would return the actual message. So you don't let the model go without injecting the two options.
So the whole thing, as the name suggests, is to go off and use one of these servers to pull back context, specific context, and bring that in, and then continue on, present the model to the model this prompt with the enhanced context. And
Yeah.
do we have insight into? I mean, you don't have to worry about this right now if you got more to show, but what the enhancement actually looks like? I mean, what actually goes to the model?
So the model sees like this result JSON, right?
Okay.
So this is basically the type of the returning variable in the function, and then you get the value like this.
But in addition to this, there must be some sort of standard prompt language.
No, there's one that's not. There's one the model sees, I think, that this is a JSON and tries to understand the JSON. But
Okay.
if we had a prompt, and if this client would have like the prompt support, because it doesn't have, we could like, oh, my JSON will be formatted this way, so you should parse it that way. So I think it's parsing freely without guardrails right now. Yeah.
So it sent off what's in arguments to that search log function. It got back the result. It turns around and sent back as context, as additional context to the model.
Correct.
So we've got like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And I think that's all what I wanted to show. If you have questions, I may not have all the answers, but I just want to show that it's not hard.
So,
What if you
so
wanted to
we've got,
do a reasoner?
Hmm?
What if you wanted it to do some reasoning, like maybe connecting an external reasoner or it reason somehow?
Yeah, I think it's like it's a Python code. You can do anything, right? Even call another LLM from there. So or or go to our reasoner, do anything. So you can basically do anything you want. Python code. But the model will be waiting for the answer, right? So I don't know how long, depends on the implementation, but it will probably eventually time out if it takes too long to respond. Function.
so if you're bolting something on a triple store, is the strategy to build a bunch of essentially stored queries? What's kind of the strategy there? I guess.
Yeah. So I think it works best when you have like generic enough. You need to be kind of in the middle. you need to be generic enough to not create like specific tools, small tools. So the tools need to be kind of in a level that is not very specific, but not too generic. So Wikidata is, I find it interesting because it has search items and search properties. So search items is search entity. I don't know why they call items, but so anything that the user searches, they try to find an entity or a property. And then given you have either this or this, you get the claims, which are the triples out of that entity.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So claims are statements.
Statements.
Triples,
Yeah, I don't know why they call claims or items. Because that doesn't sound like Wikidata.
No,
And claim values.
but you could get the whole instance and class hierarchy.
You could that as well. Yeah.
And what's it give it to you in?
This one you send the entity and returns I think the types of the entity. Like as a hierarchy, human, animal.
But you could encapsulate much more powerful functionality. I mean, this is pretty atomic.
Yeah, because it's interesting because if you have like the right balance between like specifics and generic, the model has enough freedom to call again if it hasn't found an answer in the first call, right? So, for instance, if I ask, what's the difference between Deborah McGinnis and Jehanda's careers? It will call that search items twice, one for Jehanda, one Deborah, and then you will compare. So if you have something very specific, it might. So you need to experiment with, I think, and see what level of abstraction for those tools works best.
But if you've got a triple store that you want to build, you've built it for certain specific tasks, where you're going to be making certain kinds of queries that are essentially like reports. You could have more. Your functions could be more complex.
Yes.
And provide more information that's more ready to go. Whereas this is much more general purpose. It needs to be more general purpose, so it's lower level. So I think we probably should let Enrique get on his way. So,
Yeah, I think it's a matter of experimenting with which level of abstraction you need for a specific case.
yeah. So for those working on TMS, is this giving you some ideas?
It is. Oh, it is.
So I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you very much, Enrique. Let's thank Enrique.
Sure.